In 2013, we started recognizing that the state wasn't going to make this a priority anytime soon. If we were going to invest in our streets, we needed to do something locally. And so there was a movement afoot to look at what did we need to do, how much money could we raise. So at the time, we were coming to the tail end of income tax extension and made the decision to ask the voters to extend that income tax increase for 15 years and dedicate that funding to streets. When we went to the voters to ask them to support the extension of the income tax, the business community, our local chamber, not only supported that, but they also worked to help us get the word out about why it was so critical.
You know, we have a truck that runs beer back and forth between our production facility and our warehousing, and when you blow tires and transmissions and things like that, those are big costs. And hitting a pothole, having a keg fly into a bunch of cases, and all those are ruined, that sets you way back. And those are the things that can happen if you don't have that infrastructure piece in place. And now that things are improving, I think we can really look at, lowering our costs for things like that, lowering our risk, and it really helps as a whole, just having that confidence in going forward with our business.
Before the dedicated income tax passed, we had allocated less than $1 million a year. We didn't even have enough money to match federal and state grants for streets. Come June of this year, so June of 2018, we will have invested in the last 3.5 years more than $70 million in streets. Back in 2014, we received almost 7,000 calls about potholes. In the last 3.5 years, we've reduced that by half. So we still have problems, we still have work to do, but the fact that over the course of 3 years, we saw a 50% reduction is really telling.
I think first and foremost, you're seeing a broad spectrum of infrastructure being addressed. We've got more of an emphasis on pedestrian safety. We've got more of an emphasis on public transportation and bike travel and bike lanes and things like that. More stormwater retention, more green infrastructure that's happening. That's what I see that it's impacting everybody within the city, and that's only a good thing for businesses going, further down the line.
We need to look beyond just the street and the sidewalk that we can see, but recognize that there's a lot of infrastructure underground that we don't see that has also been neglected for a very long time. And the state hasn't invested in the infrastructure that we see on the street, and especially not the infrastructure we see underground. And we have stories all throughout the state talking about how when that infrastructure fails, it has a devastating effect on communities. We're so proud in Michigan to be the home of the Great Lakes. We need to recognize that so many of our decisions, particularly decisions that we make around policy and funding, impact our environment and impact our Great Lakes.